Thank you for joining us today. My name is Andrea McEwen Henderson, and I will be your host today. I am one of the national account managers with College Recruiter. College Recruiter is the leading niche job board used by recent college graduates to find entry-level jobs and students to find internships. Today, we will be speaking with Stephen Rothberg, president of College Recruiter. Stephen started his first small business in 1988 as a college senior, sold it to friends when he went to graduate school, and then started his second business in 1991. That second business later morphed into collegerecruiter.com. Stephen, thank you so much for joining us today as we discuss writing effective job posting ads. So I can't wait to get started. So my first question is, what makes a well-written job posting ad?
A well-written job posting ad is like a purple unicorn. As soon as you find one, let me know.
Okay.
No, in all seriousness, a well-written job posting goes well beyond what the vast majority of job postings are today. Almost every job posting that I see is written from the perspective of the employer. It talks about provides the job title, location, a brief description of what the job entails, like what you'll be doing. And then the focus is almost always on the requirements and preferences. What does the candidate need to bring to the table? What do you, as the candidate, need to have done? Experience, education, whatever, in order to be qualified and perhaps well qualified for the position. A well-written job posting has all that, but then it also talks to the needs and wants of the candidate. What kind of industry is this? I may not know what industry the employer is in, so help me understand that, because industry matters. What kind of organization is this? How big is your organization? Do you have 2 people, 25 people, 250 people, 250,000 people? Some people only want to work for a small organization, like me. Some people only want to work for a massive organization, and I've done that too, which is why I want to work for a small organization. What's the culture like? Some people thrive in a very, very autocratic, militaristic organization, very top-down. This is exactly what you'll be doing in every minute of the day. Some people, they want to go to work and turn off their brain and just do what they're told. Nothing wrong with that. Other people like to have a lot of discretion, a lot of freedom, the ability to do different things and to exercise a lot of discretion. So they need a very democratic, sort of bottom-up kind of organization. They need a culture that rewards people who make mistakes if they learn from those mistakes. Some organizations are culturally very conservative. We don't change things very often. The organization and its products are the same now as they've been for the last 20 years. Some people really thrive in that kind of environment because they're not good at change. Other people get bored silly in that kind of an environment and they want change. So the job posting, a well-written job posting ad should communicate that. Now, one thing that I think not enough employers do is use video. There's an expression, and you probably heard this, Andrea, probably from me, that a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Absolutely.
I believe that a video is worth 1,000 pictures. So I don't think that we should replace the written, the textual job posting ad with videos, because a video just doesn't work well for some candidates. But I do think that we should supplement. We should have both, because you can take somebody on a tour of your office. You can show them the community that you live in. If it's a rural area with great hunting and fishing right next door, in 3 seconds in a video, you can show that stream that's a mile from your office. So if you're recruiting a bunch of people who love to go fishing, show them the stream. You can't really do that very well with text.
Absolutely. And I think you said some key things, and I certainly, in my experience, have seen the same thing, which is the job postings certainly are written from the employer perspective, and it doesn't even speak to, again, the candidate needs, desires, etc. So absolutely, totally agree. So
Right.
what percentage of job posting ads would you say are well written?
I would say 1 or 2%. Yeah,
Wow,
I mean,
that's startling.
virtually every posting that I see is only written from the perspective of the employer. And there's a little bit of text in there that says this is basically the job that you're going to do. And 3/4 of the ad is all about requirements and preferences. Another thing that I don't see enough of are employers that include humor in their ads if the culture in the organization is one where humor is part of your daily life. So, like in our company, we joke around a lot, right? We're serious, we get our work done, but we're not afraid to shoot each other like a funny photo that, if Monday's a really bad day, somebody inevitably is going to send around a I hate Mondays photo by email. Everybody gets a chuckle out of it, and it kind of helps us, it helps us all be human through the day.
Right.
That's part of who we are. That's in our DNA. So if you remember when you applied the job, we put in there that this is a dog-friendly company or something to that effect. And if you have a cat, don't bother applying. Clearly, we would have hired somebody who was well qualified, who made the mistake of getting a cat. And maybe having a cat was penance for something that they did awful in a previous life. But we did that to communicate to you and to other people that we hired before you, hired after you, that's part of who we are. To say that we have a sense of humor, that's fine. To actually put a joke in there that hopefully was somewhat funny, I thought that was better.
Got it.
And if you don't agree, don't say it.
You got that too. So why aren't most job posting ads well written?
I think it's a lack of time for some of the recruiters. That some of them are so busy that they just don't take the time to really be thoughtful. To bang out a job posting ad might take, say, an hour. And then you have to run it by 18 different people and your lawyers, and it has to go to the Vatican, and the Pope has to bless it. And they're just like so many different people involved. All of that good stuff tends to get taken out. So there are too many people involved, and it takes too long. I think more time at the front end, if that recruiter and the other people who are involved could come together and spend a little bit more time on the front end writing it from the perspective of the job seeker. It's like, okay, we've got our requirements, we've got our preferences, that's important, we need that. What is the candidate going to want to see? If a really good candidate is interested in this position, what questions would she want to see right at the front end, right before she's even applied to us? And think about that, and then put that into your job posting ad. I don't think that very many employers really think about it from that perspective. They think about it from the perspective of a really good candidate can ask those questions at the interview. And they can, if they apply, and if a recruiter sees that they're a really good candidate, and they offer an interview, and the person comes in for the interview. If. I think employers are losing a ton of highly qualified candidates because those people never even apply, and the employer doesn't even know that they're missing them.
Wow. So should employers, now we spoke a little bit about this previously with video being worth 1,000 pictures. Is there more that you want to talk about around video with the job posting ads?
Yeah, so I see very few poorly done employment videos. It's kind of the flip side of the job posting ads. And I suspect it's because employers that have decided to do a video know that they have to take a lot of time to do it well, and they're often spending a fair amount of money, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to do it. Some of the best videos that I've ever seen cost virtually nothing. They'll give their interns like a flip camera, or now smartphones. The last few years, you don't really need to hand out flip cameras to your employees. You just have them use their cell phones, and they'll just go and they'll interview the hiring manager, and then they'll edit it down, and they'll show the outside of the building, and it's kind of goofy and it's kind of cheesy, but those videos speak well to next year's interns. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to do those sorts of videos. A lot of videos that I see are more professionally done. They're done by perhaps the employer's marketing department, an ad agency. There are companies out there that specialize in doing employment videos, and they're usually, I think, well thought out, well done, and they do a very good job of communicating the employer's culture, the environment, the community in which they live. And then every once in a while, I will run across a video that just brings me to tears in a good way. So years ago, there was a video that Whirlpool did with Reba McEntire, and it talked nothing about Whirlpool's employment opportunities until the very, very, very end. And it was all about Reba McEntire talking about how Whirlpool has partnered with Habitat for Humanity to help people find a home. And Whirlpool makes washers and dryers and other appliances like that, so they donate a lot of those to Habitat for Humanity. And the video talks about a key, and the key, how important that is to somebody who doesn't have a home. And then at the very end of the video, you see the Whirlpool logo, and the tagline is something to the effect of, home is important. Come work with us. Something to that effect. Incredibly soft sell, but it really gave you the chills, this video. If you were thinking about whether Whirlpool was a good place to work or not, whether it was a good member of the community before that video, you had no doubts after watching that video. If social justice is important to you, you're going to work there. And they didn't know it yet, but they were going to hire you. That's what that video did to me. And then there was another video that Microsoft did. I don't know why, but they pulled it. And it was Ed Helms, who I think used to be on The Daily Show. Years ago, he was one of their correspondents. And he goes around the corporate campus in Redmond, Washington, and he's interviewing different hiring managers, and he finds out that they give away, like, soda. So you can go and have free soda when you're working at Microsoft. And he's like, I can just have soda for free. And they're like, yeah, I can take, like, 5 sodas, and that's okay? Yep, as many as you want. As many as I want. And then the next scene you see, he's got like a dolly with hundreds of cans of soda, and he's like running through the corporate campus like he's stealing it. And I loved it because, especially at the time, Microsoft had this sort of reputation of being this very unfunny place, very, very serious. And here was this video where they were making fun of themselves in a very good way. And maybe because they were unfunny, maybe that's why they pulled it. They don't seem to have that same issue now. They seem to be much more lighthearted and much more real in their advertising. But I thought that was a great example of a company saying, you know what, we know that we have a reputation of being really serious, but that's not really who we are. This is really who we are. I just wish that video was still out there. It was awesome.
So I will look at commercials very differently now after this conversation, for sure. So in wrapping up, can you give us 3 to 5 major tips that recruiters need to think about when they are going to create or post a job posting?
Okay, sure. So start at the top.
Okay.
Number 1, job title. Use the job title that the candidate would use to find your job. Just like on a web page, the title of the web page or the subject line of the web page, when Google or Bing or other search engines are looking at that web page, which a job posting is a web page, the most important thing when Google is trying to rank it, should it be at the top of the first page or at the bottom of the 98th page? The most important thing is the title, and that's the job title. So if you call your sales representative, your entry-level sales representative position, if you call that a junior account executive, almost no job seeker is going to go to Google and type in junior account executive. And so you're going to miss out on a lot of really great traffic. Or a search engine like on College Recruiter or any other job board. It works the same way. So you want to call that job entry-level sales representative. And then if there is some kind of a legal need for you to include the actual job title, put it right in the job description. As a account executive with XYZ Corporation, you will do this. Fine. So you can cover both bases that way. I also, when I'm talking to employers, so tip number 2 is sort of write the job posting like a funnel. Start wide, get narrow. Start with the industry. What industry are we in? What's it like? Then get a little bit narrower. What's our organization like? How many people work here? What's the culture like? What do we make? What are the products and services that we sell? Who do we sell them to? That type of thing. Then get a little bit narrower. If you have departments or divisions, talk about the department or division that that employee will be in, and then talk about the actual job. What I see with almost all job postings is that they skip industry, they skip company, they skip department or division, and they go right to the actual job. So people don't have a context of where they are in the bigger picture. Go ahead and talk about requirements. Go ahead and talk about preferences, because people should be able to weed themselves out. If you require a bachelor's degree and somebody doesn't have a bachelor's degree, they don't want to apply to the job, and you don't want them to apply to the job. So tell them that that's what they have. Another tip, I don't know if this is 3 or 4, include the salary information. In 1982, it was really hard for candidates to find out how much you pay people. It is not 1982 anymore. It is really easy for candidates to find out how much you pay people. So I see employers withholding salary information in job posting ads because they feel like that gives them a negotiating edge over that candidate. First of all, why would you want to have a negotiating edge over somebody? It kind of implies, in that kind of context, it implies that you want to pay that person less than what they deserve. You want to pay them less than a fair wage. Tell them what a fair wage is. It's going to be, $48,000 to $52,000 a year, depending upon qualifications. And if you hire somebody who's minimally qualified, as a recruiter, it's part of your job to explain that to that person. And that's why you're making 48. But when you get this qualification, you finish your bachelor's degree, then we're going to bump you to 50. And when you've had 2 years of experience, and so you're now highly qualified, now you're going to be making 52. That's the job of the recruiter. And so that should be in the ad, the salary information. If somebody wants to make 80, if they feel they deserve 80, you don't want them applying to that job. If somebody thinks they should be making 25, you don't want them applying to that job. So tell them. And then finally, I think really doing a good job, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, Andrea, is to communicate culture. If it's a very buttoned down, very formal, very serious, very autocratic work environment, some people thrive in that, tell them. If it's loosey-goosey, bring your dog to work every day, do whatever you want, and just kind of somehow at the end of the day get your work done, tell them. But be straight up and honest with people. You don't want people who are looking for a very regimented work environment going to work for a company, like ours. That would not be a good fit.
Right. Oh, wow. Just great tips, Stephen. Thank you so much for, again, sharing your insights on writing an effective job posting ad. Thank you. Have a great day.
You as well. Thank you.